Arthur Smith said of Justin Fields yesterday, and I quote directly, he dang near took that game over. Loved it. Loved it. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots the other two teams in town, the Penguins and the Pirates. Steelers versus Cowboys is an 8:20 p.m. kickoff at Acrisure Stadium. I'm not into predictions, but I am into vibes and feels and things that I'd like to see. So what I'm going to do on this Friday, and maybe on future Fridays, is share with you a handful of things I'd like to see happen. And I'm going to begin doing this in descending order with number 5. Let's move TJ Watt around a little bit. That's not to suggest that you'd have to do it or that TJ would need it to compensate for anything. And for what it's worth, Terrell Austin said yesterday on the South Side that neither he nor TJ would have any problem with doing that. They've done it in the past. But what I think would come with some carryover value to it is if you make it known to future opponents, not just to the Cowboys right there on the field, that, yeah, what the Colts did, it worked, but that's never going to happen again. Now, I criticized the Steelers from Indianapolis because I didn't like the fact that they didn't adjust to it on the spot, but not adjusting to it the week after would be really indefensible. Number 4, how about a takeaway for Minka Fitzpatrick? Did we forget what made Minka this consensus all-universe safety? Yeah, he does a lot of things well. He does a lot of things better than almost anyone on the outside could even realize. But did you know that his last interception was on New Year's Day of 2023? I'm going to repeat that. New Year's Day of 2023, meaning it was the 2022 season. That was the second to last game of the regular season. So it's been 16 games if you count the playoff loss in Buffalo. That's a yikes and a half. And I understand, turnovers are in large part luck, but we can't have it both ways when we're talking about him. When I'm saying that the defense that Austin and Mike Tomlin set up was based partly on making sure that Minka can roam free and get his picks, then Minka's got to get his picks. Number 3, I am tired of discussing the Steelers and the run game in the first quarter, and by that I mean on both sides of the ball. They can't run themselves, and they can't stop the other guys from running. And while adjustments are part of the game, they don't necessarily need to take into the second quarter or the third quarter, or in some cases, they don't happen at all. There have been almost no exceptions to what I'm describing, again, on both sides of the ball through any of the 4 games to date. Well, okay, they stopped Denver, but, you saw the Broncos. I'm more than a little bit worried about this. On the offensive side, there's all the line issues. On the defensive side, Ilario Ogunjobi wasn't practicing yesterday. That was a new development. Figure it out. Get it together. One last time on both sides of the ball. All this talk about slow starts, that's really what we're talking about. Number 2, there is no law that says you have to run on first down. Nor is there any law that says that all of the passes have to go to George Pickens. Last I checked, Arthur Smith's reputation very much preceded him that he was a tight ends kind of guy. So great, use them. Note the plural, use them. Pat Freiermuth isn't getting the ball anywhere near enough. What a wonderful little 5-yard, 6-yard weapon that would be on first down, huh? Throw it just over the line. Get just past those guys. Soften them up just enough so that they can't stack against the run. No one will take any macho points away from you for doing that. Tight ends, they're kind of macho, right? And if you don't think they are, then go check out Darnell Washington eating people alive down the right sideline in Indianapolis the other day. Darnell exists too. He can catch, he can run after the catch, he can maul after the catch. Use them. Use them as first down weapons. Believe me, nobody will see it coming, including anyone filling those yellow seats. Number 1, this won't surprise you, let Justin, take over this dang game too. I'd love to see a scenario. along the lines of the second half in Indianapolis, minus the whole having to come back from a 17-0 deficit, in which Fields just rolls. Another remark that Smith made regarding Fields in Indianapolis was that he'd wish the game had just continued, if only to see Fields continue to operate the way he did. He didn't want it to end. He wanted to see his quarterback continue to grow and evolve and do all those good things that he was doing. Well, nothing stops you from pressing that same play button all over again a week later. The Dallas defense isn't any good. The Dallas defense is banged up on top of that. And if the Steelers were to win this game, and I'll remind that I'm not doing predictions here, they could be not only 4-1, not only well atop the AFC North and every other conference scenario that you'd like, but they could also be doing it with the makings of a potential franchise quarterback in his mid-20s. And if that's too over the top for some of his consistent and ardent critics who focus on his 3 years in Chicago as if what we're seeing now doesn't count at all, as if the Bears don't ruin every quarterback they've gotten since Jim McMahon, I think, then okay, then this one would be for you, and I would like to see that as well. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Antonio, who says, DK, how much could the return of Isaac Seumalo stabilize this banged-up offensive line going forward? Isaac, I don't think, is going to contribute to stabilizing. I think he has to become the stabilizing. Think about who's on that line. Think about who's there left to right. Respecting that Dan Moore's been around for a bit and that Moore is a leader in his own right, you're now looking at Zach Frazier, a rookie, Mason McCormick, a rookie who'll only be taking the right guard position as a starter for the first time, and then Broderick Jones, who was wonderful as a rookie but didn't play like a rookie until this year, and who seemingly had almost all of his growing pains in this year. Now, the main effect that you want any veteran player to have when it comes to leadership is to be a good player. The other stuff gets grossly overblown. I can tell you from a lifetime of covering it. If you're a veteran and you stink, and the kids are having to make up for you, no one wants to hear what you have to say. Whereas if you're a veteran and you're playing the kind of football that Seumalo's played his entire career, that can, and I think it has to be the case. Isaac has to rise up. They have to follow Isaac, and that has to start Sunday night. Listen, I know I glossed over the offensive line in that opening segment. There was just a passing couple of syllables. But that doesn't mean that I don't recognize that that's not going to be the number one variable Sunday night. And like any variables, the swing is what's in question here. They can either be really bad or maybe, based on all that talent and all that pedigree, they can be really good. To me, what I'd like to see, specifically regarding the line, to kind of continue today's theme, is just growth, just some sort of steadiness. I don't think you need to envision 5 All-Pros out there. You don't need to see people getting pancaked. You don't need to see all kinds of pulls and stunts and everything else. Line them up, man on man. Seal them up. And for God's sake, stop taking penalties. Just this week, just don't be a detriment. Don't be something that when people like me come down from the press box to interview you, that we have anything at all to ask. Make that the goal. You don't want to be the story. You don't want to be Broderick flipping out on social media. You just want to do your job, keep things quiet, and prepare for the flight to Las Vegas the following week. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We will have another one of these, of course, on Monday.